All right, I understand. New York Jets are over a transitioning period with, of course, allegedly Aaron Rodgers coming back earlier than regularly scheduled while with a torn Achilles, while at the age of 39, trying to repair something that's already broken. Currently, the New York Jets fall 4-6 after getting destroyed over a 30-point deficit against the goddamn Buffalo Bills. They even opened over on kickoff off a forced fumble. They didn't even have to try. I have casual viewers watching these stupid games. I got siblings that have no intention to ever watch sports or play it overall, be intrigued to why this team is still a disappointment, like several decades on the line, after A, pissing down their leg against Las Vegas. They got a major upset win, and they were giant killers at the beginning of the season. They came up beating the Buffalo Bills. After a 3-game losing streak, they trailed over 3 games, beating the Denver Broncos that are actually above 500. They fell deficit against. They held over defensively and caused 3 turnovers while sacking 5 times. Jalen Hurts in a massive upset. I was there over at MetLife, and then uh, an overtime upset, winning by a field goal against the New York Jets that are just worse. And the Jets are not even. The Giants have the same circumstances as the Jets: injury over their quarterback, lack of a consistent receiving core. C.J. Uzomah barely gets targeted. Zach Wilson just has such an abysmal pocket presence. Yes, you can blame it over on their offensive line. They've been abysmal this season. But whenever you see Wilson throw, he's either second guessing over his reads. He chucks he chucks open like man mark reads when there's several jerseys, and sometimes he'll just not be aware to roll out when the tackle's coming in, and you see that so many times. And it's like, why isn't he taking time to throw or throw it out of bounds? You forget that quarterbacks have that option, right? You can't find a target. They won't find intentional grounding if it's already lined up over to the outside. You couldn't find a man or pressure's building up. Zach Wilson's just not a good quarterback. It's been like that for several years now. And then the Jets just hire Nathaniel Hackett. They couldn't hack it as a head coach for the past decade and a half decade when he had a stint over on the Broncos, and then he fell over, having the worst stint over on the Denver. Uh, literally just pissing down the storm, all because of the coaching branch that he's a part of, and that's the only reason Salah even picked him over, because of his offensive prowess or lack thereof. The Jets are so conservative over their passing game. They'll heavily just screen out Dalvin Cook to just be a rotating option, and they still just primarily give it to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson got forced fumble. Don't worry, he played shit. And there's sometimes reads whenever Zach Wilson actually gives a good throw, the receivers just piss down their leg. They do. And whenever the Jets lose, they lose hard. I remember they were pressing down a curl, a chance to even change over the deficit when they were over in the red zone, when they were getting destroyed by the Dallas Cowboys. And it came off not Uzama, but their second string tight end getting a massive drop ball. Slipped over 2 pass deflections, and not only that, they're gonna still start Tim Boyle for their next game. So that's already like 11 straight starts for Zach Wilson. And he's only that came off missing it. No, that's 10 straight starts, because Aaron Rodgers started first against the Buffalo Bills before falling short due to his Achilles tear that he had out the first drive against the Buffalo Bills on what I think that was Monday Night Football on September 11th. And don't get me wrong, like, mistakes happen. Offensive line can be a wreck. Receiving core can be trash. But sometimes there's quarterbacks can make something out of nothing, like Lamar Jackson. And I know he's not around that level. And I know the injury bug, especially over like the several lineman rotations, missing Bedkins, getting Samuel, missing Billy Turner, like they were going to play well. the only upside that I'll have is like the Jets can average a sum up over under 25 points of total offense and square that over to 15. They've done that with some good offensive teams. Like only the Denver Broncos closed over a tough game against the Kansas City Chiefs back in like week 4. Closed over 15 of total offense against one of the bottom tier teams in the AFC East out of the New England Patriots. And they coincided with like the most inconsistent, atrocious offense in the league I've seen since the Giants, bro. I'm not even trying to be pessimistic. They've only totaled around over 11 points, bro. They haven't even hit 20 points since they played the Philadelphia Eagles. And that came over an extra point. They didn't even score a touchdown until the final minute when it came over to 2 first downs and they ran over with Brees Hall. Brees Hall's been the only upside over their running their entire offense. And they'll just go for these predictable, jagged runs when it's single back formation. They'll bunch over a single wideout over on like 1st and 10, and they'll get like bunched up over yards. And then Wilson gets too congested. There's just too many takeaways. It's inexcusable. You'll see the Jets' special teams score than their regular offense. You can't have that in the NFL level. I respect Robert Saleh, especially for what he's done for the San Francisco 49ers with postseason success, but it didn't get over to a Super Bowl win. I think that's what the Jets are overreacting. Any type of minimal regular season success, that's the high expectation that the Jets are trying to give over as a franchise to the bare minimum of not building over culture. And that just might fade over to the long run for Sauce Gardner. Brees Hall, after coming out of his injury where he missed the second half of the season, could go for a Pro Bowl season. Zach Wilson is still not thrown over 2,000 yards. Over his 10 games he's played. He's been absolutely atrocious. Especially still having a QBR of 31. A QBR of 31 while getting 38 sacks on him. 6 passing touchdowns out of 7 interceptions. And Tim Boyle already had like 2. In just his first play. It's embarrassing. I'd rather start the punter than Tim Boyle. Hell, you're better off starting the kicker. At least he's actually been efficient to hit his target where he needs to do it. Allen Lazard has been an absolute non-factor on this entire season so far. He's literally just an extra block. He's just an extra block, and he's nearly in the same amount of targets as Tyler Colkins. But whenever Conklin even gets the ball, he actually makes a play. He has a higher catch radius. He's better off third down conversions, and he's been a higher asset offensively for the Jets. 20 out of 40 is absolutely abysmal. And I know they got him just off the favoritism to even sign Aaron Rodgers to begin with. Why not just get consistent receivers that can actually make plays? Sometimes just getting your friends a job isn't good enough. Especially if Garrett Wilson continues with sometimes these on and off performances where he'll just get a highlight and then he'll just come off pissing off his leg and get in like 3 out of 5 drops. And then get a first down and then do nothing in the red zone. That's what you're getting off this Jets team. It's just abysmal, and I wish I had more positive things to say. I really did. Brees Hall's around a good radius to make a career out of himself. He's already over halfway done with this regular season. He only has 2 rushing touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns in the season, 500 carries, moves the ball well, good off as a receiving option with already 296, but they're a low marking team, entirely too conservative. The only thing positively actually getting anywhere and scores more points than the Niners' offense is their defense. And you got to give that to either Sauce Gardner, that out of his 9 straight starts, He leads over in pass deflections. Has at least the top five or top 10 number of tackles leading over in the team. With already a forced fumble over his name, and he's been outstanding over the deep ball. Next to that is either Michael Carter. Quincy and Quentin Williams have been an absolute dynamic duo over in the pressure. And C.J. Mosley is like a good veteran threat. Adrian Amos makes too many mistakes. But over on their midfield problems, their pass rush is absolutely outstanding, and they have good playmaking secondary that can make some noise. But I wish that could actually be used for what's going on. At least the primary consistency is Greg Zuerlein. That has not missed a field goal. He's been 95% off his scoring. He's been absolutely consistent, and that's the only positives. Because I swear you guys are going to get no offensive highlights coming out of the New York Jets. They've been abysmal. And I don't know if it's over in the rehauling over the coaching staff. It doesn't just take nice jerseys in a new Hall of Fame over-the-hill signing to try to make a plastered like wild card spot. And then you guys got to rehaul it to do this all over again. Like you did back in the 2000s when you guys actually had a shot. And it's obviously not going to work. Even if Rodgers makes an appearance this season. Just to see what would even be forthcoming if he actually plays a full season at the age near 40. Or even to know if any of your top defensive players will be out here. Just like Marcus May after he got signed over to the Saints. Besides that, that's it for me. Hopefully you guys take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Possibly they just can turn things around. They're only 2 games below 500. But hopefully they can just do where anybody else I speak of harshly in any of my videos do and prove me wrong. Just like the LA Clippers. Everybody loved the LA Clippers vid, right? After losing 6 straight, they've won their last 3. So there's obvious negatives that can turn into positives just like that. And that it's an 82-game season. Like something got to break. So that's it for me. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to take my Tylenol.